Hello class, another workbook. Well, this is part 4a, Echo Guilt. Let's do it. Alright my friends, can we make our carbon footprints smaller? I need you to read this article. It's not very difficult. How can Americans reduce their carbon footprints? Well, you can choose A, B, C, or D. I'll be waiting.
A few minutes later.
Well, okay, let's read it together. Our carbon footprint is the estimated amount of carbon dioxide, CO2, given off as we go about our daily lives. While the global average carbon footprint is about 4 metric tons per person each year, Americans contribute approximately 20 metric tons of greenhouse gas per person each year. And this is compared to other countries, even those who use the least amount of energy in the US. For example, a person who lives off the grid still contributes double the carbon emissions that the global average person is contributing. And not surprisingly, a person's carbon footprint increases in size as his or her income increases. So you make more money, more carbon footprint. That's interesting. So the less you spend, the more environmentally friendly you are. How is it possible that people in the US who live simple lifestyles, for example, children or the homeless, make such large contributions to greenhouse gas emissions? The answer is simple. Each US citizen has access to various basic government services such as firefighting and police departments, road and bridge repair, libraries, jails and prisons, the military, etc., etc. When these public services are divided equally among the entire US population, it significantly raises the carbon footprint per person. In fact, according to a study conducted by Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, it's very famous, the lowest carbon footprint that can be calculated for a person living in the US is 8.5 metric tons. And shockingly, this carbon footprint corresponds to a homeless person who sleeps in public shelters and eats in soup kitchens. While it is admirable to make changes in lifestyle to reduce a carbon footprint, in reality it is very difficult to do. Why is that? Let's find out. The MIT study revealed that a rebound effect occurred when someone made an effort to reduce his or her carbon footprint. Take the example of a person who made the deliberate choice to buy a hybrid car instead of a large SUV. SUV, a sports utility vehicle, to save money on gas costs. Very often, that person would use the money he or she saved to do something else. For example, take a long airplane trip. In this case, just one long airplane trip produces more CO2 emissions than driving the large SUV for a year. This ends up having a negative impact on a person's carbon footprint by making it bigger. Can Americans reduce their carbon footprints? According to the study, it is possible, but it would require lifestyle changes such as giving up long-distance travel and buying fewer smartphones, tablets, and MP3 players that have large energy costs to produce and deliver. The most drastic way to lower the average American's US carbon footprint is to add a CO2 tax on food, housing, and transportation, and most Americans don't want their taxes raised. Again, taxes that help no one, if you know what I mean.
Outstanding.
Unless we can find a way to reduce our carbon footprint, the price we may ultimately have to pay is much higher than the amount of Americans will have to pay in taxes. Yeah, you wish.
That was a lie.
All right. Now, how can Americans reduce their carbon footprints? By spending less money on goods and services. Good grief!
It's false. No way. Not this time. We created it.
Okay. I hate this article already, but let's continue. We're not done. As for this part, my friends, I need you to read the article again and answer the questions by choosing A, B, or C. The show is yours. I'll wait.
A few moments later.
Back to the game. All right, let's see. The average American's carbon footprint is approximately 5 times more than the global average carbon footprint per person. Americans with the lowest carbon footprints are usually people who have nowhere to live or eat, homeless people. Number 3, a person who lives a simple lifestyle in the US has a high carbon footprint because, well, he or she has access to public services paid for by the government. Number 4, the rebound effect, well, what is it? Has a negative impact on an individual's carbon footprint. And number 5, the writer's conclusion is that reducing the US carbon footprint is almost impossible. Well, it is what it is. Nobody wants to pay taxes. All right, now I need you to just look at the highlighted words like given, off the grid, and match them with their definitions. Again, it's your turn.
12 seconds later.
Awesome. So let's see. Not using the public supplies of electricity, gas, or water off the grid. Or these days they say out of the matrix. The powerful effect that something has on someone or something is impact. Number 3, money that you have to pay the government so that it can pay for public services. Tax, which I hate. Sent into air, given off. Not harming the world around us. Environmentally friendly. Extreme in a way that has serious effect on something. Drastic. Done on purpose. Deliberate. When a situation is different from what has just been said or from what people believe in reality. And that's it for the reading part. Vocabulary. Everybody, the weather. Now, we're going to do this together, or you can stop the video and take your time. Anyway, let's get to it. Let me get my laser. Okay. Circle the one that doesn't belong. For example, below 0, chilly, freezing, pouring, of course. Number 2, settled, pouring, drizzling showers. Of course, settled. Number 3, boiling, damp, mild, warm. What is it? Damp. Fog, mist, smoke, thunder. Thunder. Blizzard, hailstorm. Breeze, monsoon. Right? Breathe. Complete the sentences with a suitable word. Okay? The first letter is given as a hint. We're having a heat wave. It's not usually so hot at this time of the year. Number 2, the weather is very changeable right now. 1 minute it's raining and the next the sun comes out, just like Istanbul, where I live. All right? People say that there may be a flood if the river continues rising. Number 4, in some areas it was raining and in others there was a hailstorm, we say, or hailstorm. It must be hailstorm. The balls of ice were enormous. Number 5, there will be heavy rain this morning, so drive carefully. Number 6, the government wants us to save water because of the drought. In India, monsoon season usually lasts until October. Number 8, the lightning lit up the sky during the thunderstorm. Number 9, I just took a shower 30 minutes ago and I'm sweating already. It's so humid. All right, match each adjective to a noun. Strong winds. Cool, E, breathe. Clear, A, skies. Number 4, sunny, D, periods. Heavy, C, rain. Thick, B, fog. Icy, G, roads. Bright, F, sunshine. And that's all there is to it. All the way to part 3, grammar. Congratulations, you made it so far. Future perfect and future continuous. I need you to circle the correct form. Stop the video, do it. This is your gig. All right? And if you have done it, check with your friends. There's no rush. Learn from each other. So let's read it. If this hot weather continues, forecasters say we will have a drought. Okay? Number 2, we will have had 6 meetings by the end of today. Number 3, I've decided that in the future I will take the train to work. Number 4, please don't call between 1 and 2 o'clock because we will be having lunch. Something which is in progress in the future. Number 5, Anna will be studying at college the next time we see her. And number 6, we will buy a beach house if we can sell the condo. But we're not done. Follow me. Here's another one, but let's do it together. Complete the sentences with future perfect or future continuous form of the verbs in parentheses. These verbs. For example, look, by the end of this month, we'll have moved to our new house, so you can come and stay after that. Okay? Number 2, let's do it together or with your friends. You can stop the video and do it yourself. No limitation. This time tomorrow, my parents, okay, will be flying over the Atlantic on their way to London. Number 3, Rob's exams are in May, so he'll have taken them all by June 1st. Number 4, hopefully you'll have read the book I lent you by the next time we see each other. If the game starts at 7 p.m., we'll be playing until 8:45 at least. Number 6, by this time next year, they'll have built the new road and will be able to get to work much quicker. Number 7, when do you think you'll have finished paying your mortgage? Number 8, don't call me tomorrow morning because I'll be driving to Los Angeles. Number 9, it's been raining all day, but hopefully it will have stopped by tomorrow. We were planning to have a picnic. And number 10, will you be going to the supermarket later? And that's it for future perfect and future continuous. My friends, pronunciation. Complete the chart with the words from the box. For example, chili, drizzling, fish, the same sounds, the same vowels. Let's do it.
File 4A, Pronunciation B.
Chili, fish,
E. Breeze. Heat wave.
ow, showers, drought,
Or. Warm. Pouring.
flood, thunder,
I. Bright. Lightning.
Okay, and you can listen multiple times and practice. Headphones time. Everybody, listen to a news report about paraglider Eva Wisniewska. I'm very bad with names. What kind of difficult weather did she experience? All right, listen and answer.
File 4A, Listening.
And our next story takes us to Australia, where an extreme sports enthusiast had a lucky escape today. 35-year-old Eva Wisniewska from Germany was preparing for the World Paragliding Championships when she saw a massive thunderstorm coming toward her. The storm appeared out of nowhere while she was paragliding over Manila in New South Wales, Australia. She tried to avoid it, but because paragliders have no engine, she could not go fast enough to get away from it. When the storm caught up with her, it lifted her up into the air. She told an Australian radio station that the strong winds blew her up in the air like a leaf from a tree. The storm took just under 15 minutes to carry the paraglider from a height of 2,460 feet to an estimated height of 6 miles. During the ascent, the temperature dropped to around minus 58 degrees Fahrenheit, and Ms. Wisniewska witnessed hailstones the size of oranges. Here's how Eva describes her experience. I was shaking all the time. The last thing I remember, it was dark. I could hear lightning all around me. She was sucked up so high that eventually she lost consciousness, but her paraglider continued flying. The whole ordeal was recorded by the GPS system and radio that was attached to her equipment. Luckily for Ms. Wisniewska, she was only unconscious for about half an hour. When she came to, she had descended to around 4 miles and she was covered in ice. She managed to take control of her paraglider and succeeded in descending by herself. She told reporters later that she felt like an astronaut as she was returning to the ground. I could see the Earth coming like Apollo 13. She eventually landed about 200 feet from the site where she had taken off. She had ice in her flying suit and frostbite on her face from the extremely low temperatures she had experienced. As soon as she reached the ground, she was taken to the hospital for observation, but she was released an hour later. The competition organizers stressed how lucky Ms. Wisniewska had been to regain consciousness while she was up in the air. The body of another Chinese paraglider was found later in the day, about 260 feet from where he had taken off. 42-year-old He Zongpin from China had been caught up in the same storm as the German woman, but he had not survived the ordeal. Apparently, he had died from extreme cold and a lack of oxygen.
All right, very good. Very nice. So, check your answers with your friends. Yeah, so the difficult weather was a thunderstorm. Now, I need you to listen one more time. There are 10 questions. Take your time. There's no rush. Read the questions first. Very good. Now, I need you to listen again and write your answers. Let's do it.
File 4A. Listening.
And our next story takes us to Australia, where an extreme sports enthusiast had a lucky escape today. 35-year-old Eva Wisniewska from Germany was preparing for the World Paragliding Championships when she saw a massive thunderstorm coming toward her. The storm appeared out of nowhere while she was paragliding over Manila in New South Wales, Australia. She tried to avoid it, but because paragliders have no engine, she could not go fast enough to get away from it. When the storm caught up with her, it lifted her up into the air. She told an Australian radio station that the strong winds blew her up in the air like a leaf from a tree. The storm took just under 15 minutes to carry the paraglider from a height of 2,460 feet to an estimated height of 6 miles. During the ascent, the temperature dropped to around minus 58 degrees Fahrenheit, and Ms. Wisniewska witnessed hailstones the size of oranges. Here's how Eva describes her experience. I was shaking all the time. The last thing I remember, it was dark. I could hear lightning all around me. She was sucked up so high that eventually she lost consciousness, but her paraglider continued flying. The whole ordeal was recorded by the GPS system and radio that was attached to her equipment. Luckily for Ms. Wisniewska, she was only unconscious for about half an hour. When she came to, she had descended to around 4 miles and she was covered in ice. She managed to take control of her paraglider and succeeded in descending by herself. She told reporters later that she felt like an astronaut as she was returning to the ground. I could see the Earth coming like Apollo 13. She eventually landed about 200 feet from the site where she had taken off. She had ice in her flying suit and frostbite on her face from the extremely low temperatures she had experienced. As soon as she reached the ground, she was taken to the hospital for observation, but she was released an hour later. The competition organizers stressed how lucky Ms. Wisniewska had been to regain consciousness while she was up in the air. The body of another Chinese paraglider was found later in the day, about 260 feet from where he had taken off. 42-year-old He Zongpin from China had been caught up in the same storm as the German woman, but he had not survived the ordeal. Apparently, he had died from extreme cold and a lack of oxygen.
All right, very good. So, in which country did the incident take place? Well, it was Australia. Why couldn't Eva avoid the problem? Well, because paragliders have no engine. There's no engine, all right? What temperature did Eva experience during her ascent? Minus 58 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know how much is that in Celsius. What did she see during her ascent? Hailstones the size of oranges. And what could she hear? Lightning. And how long was she unconscious? About half an hour. Where did she land? 200 feet from where she had taken off. She was very lucky, by the way. Don't take risks like that. How long did she spend in the hospital? An hour. And where was the other paraglider from? China. And did he survive? Unfortunately, no. May his soul rest in peace. And here are some words for you to practice. Band, cut down trees, for example. Extreme weather, heat wave, install, reusable, recyclable, run out of gas, solar panels, weather forecast. And that's the practice for today, everybody. Thank you for watching. If you liked my video, make sure to like and subscribe and send it to a friend who needs to learn English. I have put the slides in the description part so you can download it, use it, teach it to other people. And if you ever need, for example, private lessons or something, be sure to hit me up. You can look in the description for contact options. And last but not least, you can become a member and support our cause, or you can bless us with super thanks. It's all your choice. Until then, my friends, your greatness is coming.